check in to see how they did during, spring ball and
Yeah.
things to that effect. Maybe summertime. I just thought we'll just text each other, just kind of chill out or whatever, And Kyle, there seems to be a lot of things going on in Tuscaloosa right now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get an understanding, because you said to me before that one of the appealing parts of you taking this job was that you wanted to be there for the Nick Saban era and in the eventual retirement. However, did you anticipate the retirement would go like this?
Well, first of all, to everybody inside the comment box and supporting the product, definitely hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe over here at Orange Bloods. I've seen these guys grow up since they were a little YouTube channel to where they're going right now. Catch does a really great job, and Anwar crushes it. So we rapped before. Want to have him back on my show as well. So if you're inside the comment box, I appreciate you guys being here. Let's dive into it. I mean, when I first said that I moved to Tuscaloosa, I was kind of always anticipating some sort of retirement from Coach Saban, and I wanted that to happen. And I'm glad that it didn't happen early on in my career. I don't think that I was ready for it. The YouTube channel wasn't ready for it. I didn't really understand kind of the lay of the land in terms of moving to Tuscaloosa and the gravity of covering a team in the SEC. Remember, I'm not from SEC country. I am now proud to say that I've lived here for 7 years, so I understand the responsibilities of covering a program like Alabama, and it never hits, never stops. And right now we've turned it into a network overnight with our YouTube channel because we're covering historic event. How it went down, I did not anticipate. I kind of saw some foreshadowing during the season when Coach Saban kind of jetted over the student section, and he kept on thanking fans on the back end of his press conferences. I don't know if there was ever going to be a good timing for Coach Saban to leave. You look at the transfer portal windows and NIL and everything like that happening. And he said in the interview that I'm sure everybody watched with Reese, it was a grind. It was he used the word grueling. And if everybody watched that game against South Alabama or South Florida down in Tampa, it rained and rained and rained. And he was going to the locker room, and AL.com has a picture of him, and he looked like he was 170 years old. It was a grind for everybody. That game sucked. Even the TV broadcast went out. So, and this year was a lot of anxiety, but I didn't anticipate. I thought he would give us maybe a heads up. I thought we'd get a final press conference, and he doesn't owe that to us. He said going into his last meeting that he had two speeches. One was basically kind of get back to work. Another one was to announce his retirement. And I think hearing from Greg Byrne, at some point they knew that was going to happen. So they had kind of this hour by hour plan of how to attack this. Nobody could just step in and replace Coach Saban. So the timeline was quick. We've been covering the news. It's just been over a week since everything has been kind of released. So Coach Kalen DeBoer has his work cut out for him. There's still guys on the Alabama team that were recruited by Coach Saban. So, okay, the sky came up. Yes, there are transfer portal guys that are going. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Caleb Downs and Caden Proctor, Isaiah Bond, those guys definitely hit. Coach T-Rob coaching the defense, that hits. So there's a lot to dive into, and I appreciate you here to answer any questions or cause or concerns about people watching Alabama and kind of the changing of the guards.
Let me ask you this, Kyle, because from the outside looking in, this almost seems like a failure by Alabama leadership. And here's why I say that. Before, I guess it was this summer, Saban bought a home in Jupiter, Florida for $17.3 million, right? So you don't buy that home in Florida unless you're planning to retire. And you don't spend that kind of money unless you're planning to leave soon. What I don't understand, Kyle, from the outside looking in, is that it doesn't seem like there was a plan put in place to have a successor for Nick Saban. The same way that FSU groomed it and they waited for Bobby Bowden to leave so they could hand it over to like a Jimbo Fisher. We just saw that honestly with the New England Patriots, right? They have been grooming Gerard Mayo to take over for Belichick whenever they were going to part ways with him. why wasn't Bama ready to say this guy's in the 70s? He's just bought a home out here in Florida. He's retired soon. Why were they not prepared for this?
Yeah, that's another piece of the foreshadowing, right? Is he just bought a retirement home alongside, some of the biggest names and all of, all the celebrities. Yeah, I think that a plan in place was not there. And I think they were scrambling in a sense. And I have to ask the question, and I've asked my channel as well, how everyone felt about Coach Saban not necessarily leaving and kind of maintaining this advisor role and having an office now at the football stadium. Who wants to kind of come into that situation and have, theoretically coach just right there? Now, how they framed it here at Alabama, and yesterday Greg Byrne had an interview on Feinbaum talking about the fact that he's like an advisor type role. But I think Alabama is in reaction mode. I think I'm in reaction mode. I didn't know that my YouTube channel would blow up like it's been. So I think everybody's kind of scrambling. I do feel really good about the head football coaching hire. I mean, Washington was just in the national title game, and not to kind of throw salt at you guys, but he's 2-0 against Steve Sarkisian, right? He beat you guys twice. And that's just, I'm not making that up. It's fact. He's also 2-0 against Dan Lanning, and people feel really good about that. With that said, the Pac-12 is not the SEC. It's a different grind, and Texas is about to find that out, and Oklahoma is about to find that out, and I get it. Steve Sarkisian would have been the dream hire, but that was never going to happen. It was never realistic because of the fact that what he did at Texas, he was able to beat Alabama, was able to take them to the playoffs. He was able to have the first 10-win season since 2009 and pay him whatever he wants because he's doing an amazing job. And I'm a huge fan of Sark. You know that. So coming in with Coach KD, I think is good. I do feel that Alabama fans have a right to question the defensive coordinator hire, and it is Kane Womack, who's coming over from South Alabama. Alabama also did add Buffalo's head football coach, the University of Buffalo, and that is Maurice Lindquist. I'm sure you guys are familiar with him in the state of Texas. If you guys followed recruiting, did coach for the Dallas Cowboys. So there are some good elements on the defensive side, but they're unproven. Now, with that said, how good is Alabama going to be? I don't know. I mean, they're going to be good. I mean, most of the guys still on the roster were recruited by Coach Saban. So the challenge for Coach KD is to continue to recruit at that highest level. Now, the first guy to decommit as soon as Coach Saban retired was Ryan Williams, the 5-star that everybody's chasing, electric wide receiver. And he's hosting Ryan Williams this weekend, along with several other targets, Jabbar Muhammad, who is also in play for Texas. And you also have Parker Brailsford, who is the center at Washington, coming over this weekend as well. So this is a really big opportunity for him to re-recruit the guys, recruit some guys into Alabama. And, I think it does sting losing Isaiah Bond. And I don't like where we're at with when a player leaves, fans are like, oh, he wasn't good. No, like Isaiah Bond was a baller. He is a baller. You guys will see. And the best thing about Isaiah Bond is if you guys ever get a chance to interview him, he will tell you everything you want to know. He's SID's worst nightmare. He will just be like, no, that dude sucks. I don't like that guy. No, that food wasn't good. Your mom isn't a good cook. Like, he's not going to I love it. He's great. He'll just tell you how it is. He's good. I mean, if they, I think he's a 1,000-yard wide receiver, maybe plus. He's a NFL type guy. Kendrick Blackshire, he was in the 2 deep. He wasn't going to be a starter this year because you have Jahad Campbell and Deontay Lawson coming in. But everybody remembers Kendrick Blackshire from those high school photos. It looked like he was going to go from high school straight to the NFL. He is good. You also, I guess maybe Amari Niblack could be in play as well at the tight end position, right?
Yes.
I like his game as well. He was a starter here at Alabama. He's a versatile tight end that I think under the right development could be, a step behind the last tight end that you guys have. Jontavius Sanders, right? That was your tight end?
Jontavius Sanders, correct. Yes.
I loved his game. I thought he was a baller. He's not going to be that guy, but I think in terms of what he can bring to the table, something similar, and he'll get on the field as well. So, the Lambo and all that stuff, that's cool. I mean, whatever. It's pay for play now. And if the guys want to go out and if they have a better NIL deal, which I think Alabama is completely on their back about, take it. I mean, coaches do it all the time. I mean, Omar, do you want a salary cap on your job?
Nope.
I don't
Nope.
either. So like and subscribe and follow the show because I'm trying to pay bills over here and I want to take some vacations. I got 2 kids who are eating at Publix, and Publix is the most expensive grocery store. So yeah, no, I mean, that's kind of where we're
at. Blake, we had a super chat that came in, I think, for Kyle. You want to throw that on the screen? Say, Kyle, I'm enjoying your shows in between Orange Blood shows. You've been going 24/7, brother. Blake may want to give you a shout out there.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I think kind of the network overnight was always kind of established. And what I'm talking about is the YouTube channel, which just hit 100,000 subscribers. The plan was in place. The foundation was there. I was having a morning show every single day this season. I'd only get like 125, 150 people on. But now after, kind of the news, we've been humming. And the product is in place. So adding more elements. And of course, we're online. If you want to go over to Bama Football on YouTube, we're tracking, the castle being stormed, the castle burning down or whatever. So if you want to come over, I appreciate you guys. And there's a lot to dive into and there's a lot of questions. But there's still a lot of good players still on the team. And, this is the biggest news that's happened in college football in quite some time. I mean, Coach Saban's been here since, 2006? Alabama fans haven't had to deal with any type of adversity over the last, 10, 14 seasons since Coach Saban has been there. It's always been Alabama's going to be there. And I think that's why it's so gravitating for people to watch as well, because, Coach Saban's been in living rent-free in a lot of people's mind because, there he is again. And this year when you're like, man, this Alabama's team sucks, they're in the playoffs again. Florida State was like, no. So, Coach Saban, and for the Georgia fans that are in the chat box, I love them. The Texas fans are cooler, and I'm not just gassing them up because we're here on the show. They're actually nicer. They have, I don't know.
These fans love you, Kyle. They love you, man.
Yeah, and I love them too. And I love Texas. Have some family out in Lubbock and in Dallas. And, of course, being in New Mexico when I covered high school football, southeastern New Mexico, which is pretty much West Texas, part of the Permian Basin, you have a lot of, there's a lot of high school football. You guys ever heard of Artesia? You guys ever heard of Lovington? Carlsbad Hobbs is part of the Permian Basin. So I've been all over and I made a lot of good friends, and now I have more friends because of, Orange Bloods. But the fact is, Coach Saban's last win ever, and this is going to be hard for Georgia fans to sleep on, is against Georgia. But Georgia fans can point right back and be like, well, we just potentially stole Caleb Downs and your defensive backs coach. So kind of always a back and forth, and there's a really good play by Kirby to get T-Rob over to his staff. And Georgia has won their last, 30 out of 31 games. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah. Tell me, I don't know. This is Catch and I do a show we call Overreaction Monday, right? So this is an overreaction on a Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Does Alabama ever rebound? And I know I'm asking you this on January 18, 2024, but will Alabama ever be the Alabama that we saw under Saban? Is this one of this? It's just history was made and we just should enjoy it because we're probably not going to see that again, because it seems like there may be this is the official changing of the guard and handing the torch over to Georgia, and then with Ole Miss and Texas maybe being able to fight for a piece of that as well.
That's a really difficult question to answer. I think that this world of college football completely changed, and Coach Saban retired at the perfect time because now will be a whole new season of college football. This coming season, I don't know if you guys know, this is going to be like something we've never seen before. You guys have 2 bye weeks. We had 2 bye weeks covering Alabama football. The 12-team format, the NIL, the transfer portal. This is a whole new wave. So I don't know if there's ever going to be able to be a college football team that dominates like Alabama football did under Coach Saban, because there's too much parity now with the arms race with NIL. I don't know if the teams that have the most NIL will climb to the top. The example is Texas A&M. They just got rid of Jimbo, and they could buy every single player you want. So a lot of it is the X's and O's. A lot of it is the Jimmys and Joes. A lot of it is the NIL. If you can wrap that up into one and continue to win on the field, credit to you. It's hard to manage because if you don't play me, I'm transferring. If you don't pay me, I'm transferring. And I'm transferring just because I'm transferring, because, I'm transferring. So I don't know, if they'll ever be a dominant program like Alabama. I don't know if Alabama will ever be like Alabama football. I would say no, because there's nobody going to be like Coach Saban. I mean, were the Bulls ever like the Bulls after Michael Jordan left? No. Did they have some quality teams make the playoffs? Yes. But, when somebody of that magnitude leaves, that's it. They're gone. And if a player doesn't want to be at Alabama, if a player doesn't want to be like Texas, you let them go. And that's it. And you move forward and you focus on the players that are on your program. You develop those type of people. You don't chase. Like you're grown, Anwar. I'm grown too. One of the things that we learned in life, that there's only so many things that you can control. That's kind of your output, your consistency and performance. But there's other elements out there you just don't chase. And you let those players go. You wish them well. You send out the positivity. And, if I'm Coach KD, it stings, because you do lose Caleb Downs. You do lose Caden Proctor, probably a couple more during this 2-week span. And you kind of roll with it. But Sark is the new Saban. I don't know about that, but Sark is the man for sure. I mean, what he has going at Texas, you guys should be make sure to absorb it. Appreciate when you have a really good coach in there and the good coaching message and what they can do. Texas is at a prime spot. There's not a lot of excuses for Texas right now not to be making, and I don't even refer to it as the playoffs, like the Final Four, whatever it's going to be, because Sark has those ingredients: NIL, the players, the schematics. I'm rocking with Coach Sark, man. Quality coach. I love the rebuild of where he's at in his life, and certainly bringing it with the Longhorns. Everybody at Alabama has a lot of respect for him.
Tell me now your faith level in DeBoer. You did mention him, Kyle, and we always talk about it's always tough to be to replace a legend, right? That's a tough position to be in. It's a no win. If he wins 10 wins, everyone's gonna say it's okay. Anything short of winning a natty probably puts him in a tough situation. You did mention a couple of he's had a little success against Sark, but still, like you said, it's still got to play against the entire SEC. Your thoughts on him? Not only your thoughts on the hire, I also want to know your fan base's thoughts on it as well.
The fan base is excited. I think that they are optimistic. Look, we haven't even really had a chance to have any type of closure on Coach Saban. It just happened last Wednesday. So fans were really excited when Coach KD came in and landed in the airplane and got off and all that jazz, right? And then on Saturday, he had his press conference, said all the right things, spoke to the media, and his main message was re-recruiting the players. I like his message so far. I like what he's done. He hasn't coached in the SEC. He's not from SEC country, but the places that he's been, he's won. The Washington fans really gravitated towards him and offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb. That's probably a name that we should probably be talking about a little bit more, because I think him coming in, he looks like the guy. I think there's like Kiffin up there. There's Sark. Maybe there's some other offensive minds, but I think Ryan Grubb is going to be one of those guys as well. So people are excited about the offense, but the standard at Alabama is defense, right? Coach Saban is a defensive-minded guy. Coach Saban literally coached the cornerbacks every single day at practice, and at the end, we learned that Coach Saban was calling a lot of the defense this last year, probably during, game 4, 5, or something like that. So the standard is defense, and under Pete Golding, Alabama's defense was allowing a lot of points. Some of those, wins where it's like kind of like Big 12 or Pac-12 type, where it's like, 49-42. Alabama fans don't like that. Alabama fans want a staple of a defensive front. So coming in and maybe switching it up from the 3-4 to 4-2-5, I think Alabama fans are curious about the defense. And the defensive backs room got raided. All those guys are leaving. You're losing Kool-Aid and Terrion to the NFL, but you're losing Trey Amos, Jake Pope. You're losing Caleb Downs. You're losing Antonio Kite. You're losing Des Ricks. You're losing there was like 7 or 8 guys that are leaving the defensive back room. With that said, Alabama returns or signed a lot of guys that are very highly rated from the class of 2024 that will probably play sooner than later. But I don't know. I like Coach KD. Got to give him a shot. Just got here. He's just putting together his staff. We don't even know who's going to be coaching like the inside linebackers, for example. So I'm going to just wait for a little while and, kind of get through spring. And spring doesn't even really tell you anything. So, but I will tell you that winning cures all. And the first SEC game that Alabama has is against Georgia right here in Tuscaloosa. So Kirby coming in, he's going to be pissed off about losing last year. And there's a lot to dive into. But look, winning cures all. He's won wherever he's gone. You got to be able to continue to recruit at the level that Saban did. A lot of people talk about work ethic. That's one thing in Alabama and I think in Texas that people respect. Like, put in the work. Coach Saban used to get there every single day at 7. If I'm Coach KD, I'm getting there at 6. Long days. You have a conversation with your wife, with your family. You're like, look, this is the level that we're going at. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. I got to put the work in, because players respect people that work. Players, you got to win over the locker room, and you can only do that one day at a time. Show up early, talk with the players, make them feel important, draw out a game plan on your whiteboards, whatever. Have a vision, because Coach Saban certainly did. You look at Coach Saban from just a life coach perspective. He was always on point, never missed, recruit at the highest level. There's a lot of people that probably dislike Saban, but everybody has respect for him because he came with it from an organizational standpoint, and that's why he's the GOAT.
Well, you're the GOAT, Kyle. tell everybody how they can get all your stuff here. Everybody who's here in the chat, everybody who will watch this on the replay, everyone's watching live. And tell everybody how they can find your stuff, how they can go and support the product that you put out.
All right. So first of all, my name is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube, originally from Santa Fe, New Mexico. I've lived in Los Angeles. I've lived in Iowa. I lived in D.C., and now I live in beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I've been covering the Alabama Crimson Tide for the last 7 seasons. I'm not affiliated with, any of the great organizations. So I'm independent. I just work off YouTube. And I like that. I'm built to work independently. So if you want to follow the content that we create, I have a call-in show where people call in from across the country talking college football, Alabama football. You can find it at Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to be here. One of the things that I always try to showcase is being authentic. Just like everybody else on here, I go through stuff. I went through a lot, but I have a really high desire to perform at the highest level. And so, having an opportunity to come on here and to talk college football with you, Anwar, somebody who I really respect in the game, I appreciate that. And thanks to everybody inside the comment box for the comments. Definitely support Orange Bloods. Give them a like, give them a subscribe, and we'll catch you soon back at Bama Football on YouTube.
Now, by the way, before you go, Kyle, let me just say this, and I'm not going to spill anything, and we only got about 2 minutes left. But
right.
The reason why I want you guys to support him is that Kyle was affiliated with the big names at one point. That thing kind of fell apart, and Kyle has been able to build himself back up, build his brand. And so, for all you guys who ever have been kind of at a place where you just don't know what you're going to do and how life is going to go for you. And then you come out on the other side. This is what Kyle's been able to do. And that's why I love him so much. I have a tremendous amount of respect for him, the product that he had, that right on what he's built. Like, I'm like, well, we're only about 80,000 short. I'm like, golly, we having to hit 18. He like, well, we just hit 100. I'm like, okay, well, sorry, we need you to win. Seriously. And hopefully he does become the GOAT. So anybody, make sure y'all support his channel.
Appreciate that.
You got some stuff you got going today, Kyle? You got some more discussions?
Man, we're cooking, back at Bama Football on YouTube. And just like Tom G is saying inside the comment box, Publix is expensive. You can't walk out of there with spending like $40. So you got to be sparingly. However, on Wednesday is the coupon time. So last night things were popping as I went in. Today, what we are tracking is kind of transfer portal movement. You have some big visitors come in into Tuscaloosa to visit with Coach KD. So we got you covered at Bama Football on YouTube all day, streaming, different guests coming in. And I'm excited to be here, excited to perform at this level. Yeah, I do got a little dog in me, not afraid to work. So we'll catch you soon back at Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate it, Anwar. Thank you very much, man.
All right. Thank you, Kyle Henderson. You guys go support my man, my main man, my brother from another, Kyle Henderson. Boy, a few things.